I know sometimes it's hard for you to clearly see just how you're gonna keep it together. Your obligations and responsibility, how you gonna meet them here? Much more than this. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You've been so haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the one, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The light of the universe. Oh yes you are, oh yes you are. I know sometimes it's hard to hold your head up high, yeah, and show the world that together, you think of things that make you wanna run and hide. Who will love you and baby? Who could you trust to understand? Now let's see the truth of it. You are much, much more than this. It hurts. You're not the things you have done. You're not the words that you said. For the heartache that you're going through. Oh, you are the bright of the sun. You are the flower of the and in your presence, the things that seem hard fade away.
Good morning, Open Heart, and welcome to our live stream for this Sunday, November the 8th, 2020. We know that this has been a week that has been full of anxiety, of drama, of uncertainty, of many other things, of divisiveness, of calls for unity, all kinds of things that have been happening in our nation as a result of the presidential election. And we are now at this point. And we continue to remember the theme of the month for us. I am a metaphysician. The fact that we look at and we view the world from a different perspective. We're not doing a spiritual bypass or anything, but what we are saying is that we are seeing things from the best and highest good and envisioning the world that we wish to live in. So today and every day, we start with that intention. We start with the understanding and the idea that God is all there is. And as always, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Open Heart. Good morning, family. We always say that you visit once, you're a visitor, visit us twice, you're a famous, empowering message that is said today, that we are open and receptive to receive our blessing, as we say.
68755.
But you never know me. inside my heart and be loved for who I am. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Why is my reflection someone I don't know? Must I pretend that I'm someone else for all time? When will my reflection show who I am inside? There's a heart that must be free to fly, that burns with the need to know the reasons why. Why must we all conceal what we think, how we feel? Must there be a secret me I'm forced to hide? I won't pretend that I'm someone else for all time. When will my reflection show who I am inside? Will my reflection show who I am inside?
Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Viva la raza. I am woman. Hear me roar. Out of the closet and into the streets. Black lives matter. All Black lives matter. These rallying cries are unapologetic statements of identification and defiance. And as I reflect on this month's theme, unapologetically metaphysical, and John's awesome message last week, this rallying cry was poured in my heart for me and for you as unapologetically metaphysical folks. I am God. I am God. Say it with me now. I am God. When this message was dropped in my heart right away, I am God, I went right back to Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine. And I remember watching this miniseries years ago. Brought back memories of me texting. Actually, no texting. I called Michael. He wasn't Lily's godfather because Lily wasn't around at that time. But we went down to the Bodhi Tree bookstore. We were so excited. But I remember watching that and watching Shirley MacLaine stand out on the beach and say something I almost considered to be blasphemous. I am God. And I was telling John, when I watched it again this week, I realized so much new thought seeds were being spread out and were planted in my heart. Unlimited, powerful, connected, one with God, abundant, expansive. And I was like, wow. And then her rally cry, I am God. And so, is this a kind of new age woo concept? Not really. Ernest Holmes says the great spiritual geniuses, whether it was Moses, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, Jesus, or Emerson, have taught man, woman, all of us, to look within ourselves to find God. And even more than that, he just sort of makes it more succinct. God is all there is. God includes everything, all possibility, and all action. For spirit is the invisible essence and substance of all form. So Ernest Holmes, Plato, Socrates, Buddha, Moses, the thought that we are one with God, that the essence of who God is embodied in, as, and through us, isn't just some new age 1970s or 80s concept, but is an eternal information going through the one mind, that God is in, as, and through us, and we are one with God. So what does being God mean or look like? What do I mean when I say, proclaim that I am God? Well, I love the definition that Reverend Rita gave in her blog, and thank you, Gabe, for sharing this information with me, that when I say, I am God, you are God, we are God, that we are perfect wholeness, that we are love, and that we are infinite and unlimited. And how does this Godness embodying work in us? Well, as folks of science of mind, we know it begins in the mind. And even from the Bhagavad Gita, about 200 BC, Lord Krishna says, man is made by his beliefs. As he believes, so is. And if this quote sounds familiar, it's because 200 years after Lord Krishna, Master Teacher Jesus says something very similar to the centurion who came to ask for a healing for his servant. He said, let it be done unto you as you have believed. That in our mind, the beginning of our Godness and of us embodying that perfect wholeness, that infinite, that unlimitlessness, and our divine love begins in our mind. And like John said, it should be the first thought, and it should also be the default thought. And so what does God in action? We're going to go to Master Teacher Jesus and some of his miracles, the narratives about those, to show how God thinks, how God talks, and how God acts. So thinking the thoughts. You know, John has told us so many times in the sermons that we are not our thoughts. We are the thinker of our thoughts. And getting that intention and attention on I am in control of my thoughts, and those thoughts connect me and inspire me and help me to demonstrate and manifest my oneness with all. So I want to take a look at what does God-like thinking look at. And so we're going to take a look at the narrative of the feeding of the 5,000 and the healing of the man with the withered hand. Now, these stories, these narratives all come from the sacred text of the New Testament, or sacred text of Christianity. So the feeding of the 5,000, if you don't know it, Jesus is doing the Sermon on the Mount. People are following him around. He spoke for a while. Folks are hungry. There's about 5,000 men, because they only counted the men, but there were women and children. So probably about 8,000 to 10,000 people are at this event. And folks are hungry, and there's no Kroger or Chick-fil-A or McAllister's or Soulfish Cafe or Bonefish Grill for folks to go to. And so the disciples are, oh my God, how are we going? Jesus is calm the whole time, because his thinking is there's always enough. There's an unlimited source. There's no such thing as lack. All my needs are met. All my desires are fulfilled. And so, and in his connectedness, Spirit of Priority told him, you have to feed these people. And we're going to work this out. And so they bring Jesus his boy's lunch. And what does Jesus say? We're going to feed all these hungry people with this mess? He takes the lunch and he says, Father, I thank thee. What is he thanking God for? For knowing the thought that in God, with God, all things are possible. That we are unlimited, expanded, powerful people. And so a boy's lunch is enough to feed 5,000 men and probably 2,500 to 3,000 other people. And 12 baskets are left over, because God is abundant and expansive. But what if you don't have the main ingredient? Well, the narratives of Jesus' miracles demonstrates that with the water to wine. My sister and I were just talking about that if you wanted to make wine, the one thing you need to have is grapes. And yet in this narrative, Jesus doesn't even have the necessary ingredient. I'm not about to go to Kroger and be like, this water is from 2001 or from 1947, and we're selling it as our best wine. I'm like, you trying to buy no water? Where's the grapes? But thinking like God, you don't even need the main ingredient, because everything and all things are within our capacity to create, demonstrate, and manifest. So if you have the thought, the God connection, and you are acting from that first thought and default thought, all things are possible. All things are possible. So what does God speak like? Well, one of the things that I love, and I could preach on this text forever. This is one of my favorite stories from the Christian narrative. The woman with the issue of blood. The woman that has been outside, basically that blood issue has kept her from everything. And she finds out some guy's going around healing people, and she's going to get her healing. She defies the laws of her religion, goes into a crowd, touches Jesus. Jesus knows someone got the healing, and he could have just kept going. But her healing wasn't just a physical thing, that after years of being told, you're not good enough for God. You can't come to these family events with people like, oh, poor sister so-and-so, she can't come. She needed a physical, a psychological, and emotional healing. And so Jesus, in the midst of his entourage and what he was doing, stops and turns to this woman that needs to hear the words of God. Daughter, your faith has made you whole. Words of, I see you, I bless you, I greet you, I see God in you. He acknowledges her. And in that way, that hurt, that hole is healed and made whole. And then the man with the withered hand. This narrative, this miracle always caught me off guard when I wasn't quite in a new thought, an expansive mindset, because I'm like, Jesus says, reach forth your hand. I'm like, Jesus, if he could reach forth his hand, he wouldn't need your help, brother. But again, it's that understanding that Jesus, master teacher, Jesus saw everybody as healed and whole. So that's why he's hanging around with the lepers. There's no sickness in his mind. All is healed and all things are possible. So Jesus speaks to this man saying, stretch out your hand, because he's already seeing it as healed and whole. And so he speaks the word. Stretch it out, because I know you're already healed and whole. And then what does God act like? How do I take this? I am God, you are God, we are God. And how do I bring it in a world where in this country, half the folks are like, wanting some things that are not beneficial to people who look like me, who love like me? How does God come into that circumstance? Well, first of all, God loves the unlovable, accepts the unacceptable, and comforts the comfortless. I love this accusation against master teacher Jesus. Now, the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, not the church folks. They were outside judging, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them. Oh, yes. You want to know how God acts? God loves those who have been told they're not good enough. There's no place for them at the table. You aren't accepted and you aren't welcome. God loves those people. He hangs out with those people. She embodies and inspires those people. And then God speaks truth to power. How many sermons have you heard about Jesus jacking up stuff in the temple? None, because it's a hard text. And Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who sold, and he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. And he said to them, it is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of robbers. Jesus speaking truth to power. If stuff's not right and we are God, so when people are speaking finiteness and fear and hate and you're not good enough, no, we say, no, that's not true. We come from a different understanding, a infinite understanding, an unlimited understanding. So we're not going to let my friends in the church want to talk church talk. I'll listen, but I'm not going to confirm, because I want to speak to the truth. Same with the government. Same with the government. You got to let them know This is what I want in this nation. And it comes from my understanding of who and how God represents. We too often let the human, the temporal, the finite be our default and our identification. But I tell you, brothers and sisters, you are God. We are God. And I am God. We are. Let me get this quote right from Reverend Rita. Perfect wholeness. We are love. We are infinite and unlimited. That is the truth. That is being unapologetically metaphysical. As John said last week, we are cosmic, universal, and expansive. And it's about time that the people who say that's what they're about start living it, demonstrating it. This world needs radiant lights of God, people who can bring love and hope and peace into chaotic situations, into hurtful situations, that we can do what Master Teacher Jesus has showed us, bring love, healing, and warmth. And all it takes is understanding who you are. I am God. I am God. All that God is in, as, and through me. And I unapologetically proclaim, I am God.
To greater love. Oh yeah. So the truth keeps telling me, sing of liberation for the ones who are free. Love can take us higher, reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah. So we let wash over us, we let take us higher, we let make us stronger, we let
Infinite prosperity is mine to share. Thank you so much for your support of us through your conscious giving. We know that times can be uncertain, but you continue to support Open Heart, and it is truly appreciated. You can do so via our app. You can do so online or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292. Thanks again.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know that the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. God's work is mighty and marvelous. God increases our lives every day, and my soul magnifies the Lord. Yes, God's love redefines my existence. Yes, God's peace resurrects my life. Oh yes, God's joy, well, it's lifting me. It's lifting me. It's lifting me up. God's joy, oh yes, said it's lifting me, lifting me up. See, God's will is just don't labor in vain, except the Lord build a house. We labor, we that labor in vain, don't labor in vain.